Here's a little bit I'll share with you guys under just some kind of general knowledge. If you have a table saw, maybe you've dealt with the same problem. But this table saw, when I bought it, came with just a single dust guard, which is over here on the workbench. It's this one here, this red shield. It's designed to protect your normal blade, and that's it. Now the problem that I have is that I wanted to run my dado blade, which you can see I have installed in my saw. It's 3/4 inch. It's not going to fit through this slot here. So I went on a witch hunt looking for a replacement for this shield that could fit up to a 1-inch dado. Well, I couldn't find one. I hadn't gotten quite to the point that I had called Porter Cable and asked them for one, but I'd gone to a couple of different woodworking specialty shops, and they have blanks that you can buy for this. They're plastic or something, and they're designed that you just put the blank in place of the original seal, and then you just start your saw and you run your dado, you raise your dado very slowly through it, cuts the perfect size groove. Well, unfortunately, they didn't have any blanks long enough to fit this slot. And so what I did instead was I made my own out of wood. So here we are again with, my lovely cedar. So what I did was I just took this piece of material here, flipped it upside down, traced it on the cedar, so I had the same oval shape. I had to do a little bit of trimming, but so I had the same oval shape. Took it to my, I believe I used my jigsaw to cut it out so I could cut the nice curves, and then put it back on there, and I traced all the holes. Just put a little dot with my ink pen, so I could tell where to drill all the pilot holes at. And then I ran it through my planer to plane it down to about a 1/4 inch thick, I believe, maybe a hair less or a hair more. But the trick is that you have these screw holes here, 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 and here. Well, these align with the screw holes that are here and here and back here. Well, this is backwards. So here's the other two here, there, and there. Now what these screws are actually designed for is they're leveling screws. So when you snap this plate into place, you can tweak those screws in or out a little bit to make sure your plate is as level as possible so you don't have any disruptions as you slide your material across the saw blade. What I do instead is I use them for the hold down screws. So I pull them all the way out, set this in place, and then I thread them back in to make sure that my wooden plate here stays firmly down and doesn't try to bounce or skip around on me. This piece here actually has little snaps. He's got these little spring-loaded snaps, so when you pop it in, it stays, there's no question, but I didn't have that for my wood plate. So I just used the screws instead. And you can see what I did was I put the blank on there with my dado blade already in, lowered it all the way down, and started the saw, and then just raised it up ever so slowly and just cut my way through. You can see as I did that back here at the back, this is essentially paper thin right here underneath as the saw came through. And so you can see there's actually some bad vibration that actually caused my cedar to split. This actually cracked all the way through there, but I was able to put some glue on it and actually salvage it. So we'll see how long this thing lasts. If it doesn't last forever, that's no big deal because it's certainly already paid for itself. The reason I needed this in particular was a lot of the stock that I rip when I'm building my B boxes is 1.5 inches, 1 3/4, 2 inch wide. Well, you can see from this gap here, this is about 3.5 inches, 3.5 inches, something like that. So the issue that I had was that the narrow stock I was trying to rip across here would want to fall in, or else the piece would be too short that it couldn't span this gap, so the back end would drop or the front end would want to drop. So this certainly helps. It fits just snug on either side of the blade. There's no question. There's no extra gap at all. So anyway, just an idea for you guys if you've dealt with the same issue. I tried, I bought this saw at Lowe's, and of course they didn't know anything about ordering in the extra blanks or whatever. So the place that I went and spoke to, if you're in the Houston area, is Rockler Woodworking. They're down off of Highway 59. I believe they're inside 610. If they're not, they're darn close to the intersection of 610 and 59 on the southwest side. But anyway, that's where I went. They're real knowledgeable staff. I don't know if you're in different cities. I'm sure you have similar stores. But anyway, like I said, just an idea I want to share with you guys. Hopefully it helps somebody.